everyone, and welcome to this episode of TV Talk, where we will be talking about reboots and revivals.
So the first show that we're going to talk about is Heroes Reborn, which is a new version reboot of the TV show Heroes, which aired on NBC from 2006 to 2010. And in this show, it followed like a bunch of different people who discovered that they had supernatural abilities. And then throughout the course of the show, it showed how they were interconnected into some kind of larger scheme or plan or conspiracy or prophecy, however you want to interpret it. A lot of people kind of got their start on this show or were kind of reintroduced into the pop culture scene. Milo Ventimiglia, I think, who's on Gilmore Girls, which we will talk about later. He was on this. Zachary Quinto, who played Spock in the newest Star Trek films, he was in this, as well as Hayden Panettiere. She played the cheerleader and was one of the main protagonists of the series. And when it first started, it was initially very well received. People went crazy about it. They named it one of the best TV shows of 2006. But then, of course, as time went on, ratings declined. People were just kind of over it. They said the stories weren't good anymore, and so it had a very short season in 2010, and then it was eventually canceled. Which brings us to this TV season. Starting in the fall, Heroes Reborn aired again on NBC, and unfortunately, it did not do well. There were many hopes that the revival would be able to bring back the feelings of the first season, which everyone really enjoyed, but it did not. It was basically kind of a roadmap of how not to do a revival or a reboot. It was mostly new characters, not a lot of returning faces, and it picked up many years after the events of the original series. And I don't want to reveal too much because not a lot of information was given because of spoilers, but it takes place after a terrorist attack somewhere in Texas, and people think that the people with supernatural abilities have something to do with it, and then from there you just kind of go down the road that many TV shows have taken. Heroes Reborn aired for 13 episodes, but then was canceled. No more new episodes. Maybe you'll like it if you liked the original series. Check it out and see what you think. Our next show is still in the science fiction realm. We are going to be talking about The X-Files, which aired on Fox from 1993 to 2002. It starred Gillian Anderson and David Duchovny as FBI special agents Dana Scully and Fox Mulder. Scully is a medical examiner, also an FBI agent. She's a woman of reason and logic and science. And Fox Mulder is known as Spooky Mulder because he believes that everything that happens in the world, there's large government conspiracies that are covering up aliens and extraterrestrials and supernatural beings, of course. And the two of them kind of go through, and throughout the series, it's part sci-fi action, but also part procedural drama because they'll investigate a crime and then they figure out at the end that it was some alien or weird creature that did it. I have recently started watching the original X-Files. I'm halfway through season 2. It's pretty good, lots of great 90s technology and style. But people loved this show when it came out. There was actually 2 feature films made from it, one that aired or was made during the show's original run, and then one that was made a couple years ago, I believe 2011 or 2012. So people were crazy about this. And Gillian Anderson and David Duchovny, everybody loved them. They really loved the show. So people started toying around with the idea of maybe could we get an X-Files season 10 later? And we did. This past January, they released 6 new episodes on Fox, with most of the original cast returning with a couple of new faces. And it was the same premise as before, investigating crimes and cover-ups and supernatural going-ons. Reviews of this one were mixed. They were not as awful as Heroes Reborn. A lot of people who liked the original show really responded well to this. Critics said that the first episode and the last episode were a little rough, but the middle episodes were really good, mimicked the strong form of the original show. Apparently, this season 10 ended with a huge cliffhanger. So people are kind of hoping for a season 11, but no word has been spoken about whether or not we're going to get that. I hope so because I just want it to go on forever now that I've started watching it. So check it out.
So the next reboot that we are going to talk about is one that I think everyone knows, Fuller House. So as everyone knows, the original Full House ran from 1987 to 1995, so that was like a year after I was born. But they started really quickly doing reruns on television, and that's how I usually watched it. So last year, Netflix closed a deal to reboot the Full House show and create this 13-episode season, which is now titled Fuller House. John Stamos actually is now like the executive producer, which is pretty cool. I mean, he's like the original like stakeholder or something like that, so I guess it makes him like the boss. Everyone from the cast has basically returned except for Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, which played the amazing, adorable Michelle Tanner. So it's basically exactly like Full House, except that the gender roles are reversed. And that's kind of, I personally had very high expectations when they announced that the show was happening. I thought, yeah, this is great. And I think it was just like mainly nostalgia. I think that's for everyone. When I heard about the plot, that DJ is now this like veterinarian who is like recently widowed and she has 3 kids, it's like, well, that's Danny Tanner. Stephanie is like this aspiring musician, that's Uncle Jesse. And then Kimmy comes in and she's just wacky and crazy, that's Joey. So it's basically the same exact thing. So I don't know. I mean, there's no original content. I wouldn't put it under like good television because it's not. It reminds me of like Wednesday night comedies on like ABC. I'm sorry, Freeform. Freeform. Like Baby Daddy and like Melissa and Joey. You know, all those, like, that's what it reminds me of. It's just one of those things that you kind of just end up watching when there's nothing better to watch. It's still a great show. I think the first episode is this big Tanner family reunion, which was great because you got to see everyone come back and all the characters and like where they're at. Like Danny is married and, you know, Uncle Jesse and like Aunt Becky, they're still together, which is so great. And their sons are hilarious. I mean, it was really nice. They make this like really funny joke about Michelle not being back because it was, I can't remember what it was, but it was like Mary-Kate and they're off in like New York being famous, and I don't remember what it was, but it was a really funny joke. But then I feel like they make some kind of jab at it like every other episode. It's like, okay, we're kind of like, we get it. Like, you're kind of upset that they're not back, but let's just end it there. So going back to the whole like original content like problem, the same jokes are kind of, they just keep going. Like Stephanie still says how rude, which is like, aren't you like 30 years old? Like I don't know. So a lot of like their famous sayings come back, and like again, the very first episode it was fine. I was like, okay, cool, but then it just keeps on going. It's like I'm not, whatever. Like I get it, but I mean, I think I should have known better. You know, if you go into this and you're really excited, don't get your hopes up too high. It's just, it is what it is. If they get renewed for a second season, great. Honestly, critics have not been liking it, and I think because of those same reasons. I read one review that they gave the first episode an F, and the rest of the season is C-. It's like, okay. I mean, I read the reviews, and I mean, I get what they're saying. It's just, I think it's purely like nostalgic, and that's what kind of like drives people to be like, yeah, let's go watch it. I mean, I enjoyed it again because I enjoyed Full House, and I love seeing everyone back, and you know, portraying these roles. The actors are so good at returning to those characters, which is really nice. So if you want to watch it, go ahead. It's not great television. I don't think anyone should expect it to be. It's literally the same exact thing. It's just 3 women, which is great because it's female empowerment, but I mean, watch it on Netflix. It is out now, all 13 episodes, and enjoy. So finally, we are going to talk about a reboot that is happening right now. It is currently filming. It's happening. It is Gilmore Girls. I am so excited. I'm more excited about this reboot than I was for Fuller House. Gilmore Girls, the original show, ran from 2000 to 2007, created by Amy Sherman Palladino, and she is returning as a director, writer, producer, everything, which is great because the last season of Gilmore Girls was not spearheaded by her, it was by someone else. So it kind of, which is why it made it not a very good season. And it didn't really end the way that anyone really hoped it would. So it's great that she's coming back along with her husband to create this reboot. So huge shout out to Netflix and Warner Brothers for finally announcing in January of this year that the reboot is happening. And it is going to be titled Gilmore Girls Seasons, which is like, that's the title now, it could totally change. But basically it's going to be 4 60-minute long episodes, following them in each season, spring, summer, fall, winter, all that jazz. And it's basically just gonna be showing us where all the characters are. Basically everyone is returning, including Rory's 3 like famous boyfriends, Dean, played by Jared Padalecki, Jess, who's played by Milo Ventimiglia, and Logan, who is portrayed by Matt Zachary. It's really exciting. I'm super excited. The only person that I am not, or the only person that we haven't heard anything about is Suki, who was portrayed by Melissa McCarthy. There's rumors, or she actually came out and said that no one had approached her to return, but Amy Sherman Palladino apparently said that they had, but she's kind of busy. I don't know. I'm kind of just fingers crossed, hoping she just sort of appears like randomly. It's like, hey guys, here I am with my husband Jackson and my like 3 kids, and we're living on a farm hundreds of miles away or something like that. So no word if she will be returning, but everyone else is. It's kind of crazy. Even their amazing doll Paulinka is returning. Like, obviously probably not going to be the original dog, but the fact that they have that character coming back is really awesome. I'm excited to see if Lorelai and Luke are still together. His daughter, who is portrayed by Vanessa Morano, will actually be returning to the show as well, which is kind of, I mean, she was like the one character that I ever really hated because she basically just put a wedge in between Lorelai and Luke. But I think they'll be fine, fingers crossed. I'm excited to see what Rory is up to, if she's gonna end up with any of the guys. But yeah, so filming began February 2nd and is going to go on until June 30th. So again, they're filming right now. It's really exciting. Gilmore Girls Seasons is happening. I am so pumped. But yeah, stay tuned for that. Hopefully, they haven't had a word, like they haven't released anything on like when that's gonna be released, but Netflix, thank you very much for doing this for us.
That's it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and check out our new William and Mary TV website. Also subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks again.